We say we want to be loved, and yet, when love gets closer, something in us tightens. A delayed reply feels heavier than it should. A warm gesture can feel suspicious. We long for closeness, then flinch from it, as if tenderness itself might cost us something. So the real conflict is not only outside us, it lives inside us too, between the part that wants connection and the part that still expects pain. To understand that conflict, we have to look at the place where closeness first stopped feeling safe. Some people enter relationships with real warmth, but underneath that warmth, there's always a thin layer of vigilance, so thin that almost nobody else can see it. Only they know what starts happening inside when someone begins to matter. The more important a person becomes, the more an old uneasiness starts to rise, not necessarily because the other person is cruel, not necessarily because the relationship is wrong, but because somewhere deep down, closeness has never meant only closeness. It has also meant risk, the risk of being left, the risk of being overlooked, the risk of having to earn love again and again, as if affection might disappear the moment you let your guard down. On the surface, the trigger can be very small. A text comes later than usual. A voice sounds a little flatter. A plan changes. A face turns distant for half a second. Tiny things. So small that logic knows there's not enough evidence yet. But emotion is rarely interested in waiting for evidence. It moves first, it fills in the blanks, it turns uncertainty into alarm, and once that alarm kicks in, the mind becomes a strange little theater. You check your phone again. You reread old messages. You replay one sentence and wonder whether the tone has changed. You want to ask what is wrong, but you're afraid that asking will make you seem needy. So you try to act normal while, inside, everything is already tipping toward panic. It is exhausting, especially when part of you can tell the reaction is bigger than the moment, yet still cannot stop it from happening. A lot of people live in that state for so long that they start mistaking it for personality. They call themselves too sensitive, too much, too difficult, too attached, too suspicious. But very often it is not simply personality. It is an old survival pattern still doing its job in a time and place where it no longer fits. That is one of the hardest things about attachment wounds. We think we are reacting only to the person in front of us. Sometimes we are, but often we are reacting to something much older too. The present touches one nerve, and the past lights up the entire system. A partner pulls back a little, and some hidden part of you hears, "You do not matter anymore." Someone grows quiet for a day, and your body responds as if abandonment is already in motion. Nothing dramatic may have happened at all, and yet the fear shows up fully formed, as if it already knows this story by heart. That fear usually has a history. In childhood, safety is not something we think our way into. We absorb it through repeated experience, through being comforted when we are distressed, through learning that when we reach out, someone is likely to respond, through discovering over and over again that closeness does not disappear the moment we have needs. But when that emotional response is inconsistent, a child does not interpret it with adult language. A child does not think, "My caregivers probably love me," but their own stress has made them emotionally unavailable in unpredictable ways. That would be far too neat. Children learn through the nervous system, through atmosphere, timing, expression, tone, absence, return. They learn what love feels like by living inside it, and if care is unpredictable, the child adapts. They start reading faces quickly. They notice shifts in mood. They become alert to distance before distance is even spoken. Some children try harder, They become pleasing, helpful, undemanding, careful. Others start hiding their needs because wanting too much and receiving too little hurts in a very pure way. Either way, the lesson settles in quietly. Connection is uncertain, and I need to stay ready. Then the child grows up. They become capable, articulate, even deeply caring. They build friendships, fall in love, go to work, create a life that looks nothing like the past. But the alarm system remains. It speaks through the body before the mind can explain it. Through a tightening chest, a restless night, a text drafted and deleted 3 times, a need to predict every emotional weather shift before it arrives. What wears a person down is not only conflict with other people, it is the constant labor of bracing for rupture. That is why attachment wounds can feel so confusing. The adult self may genuinely want intimacy, yet another part is scanning for danger inside the intimacy itself. Love is wanted but not fully trusted. Reassurance is desired but hard to take in. Warmth is offered yet still feels temporary, so the relationship becomes a place of contradiction. You move closer, then pull away. You seek certainty, then question it. You want to rest in someone's care, but remain half convinced that doing so will hurt more in the end than keeping your guard up. From the outside, that may look inconsistent, but on the inside, it often feels like survival. There are painful little paradoxes all through this pattern. A person may remember one careless moment more vividly than 10 kind ones. They may feel deeply drawn to someone, yet struggle to believe they are truly wanted. They may ask for closeness, then feel overwhelmed by it. They may fear being abandoned, but push people away before anyone gets a chance. Not because they enjoy the chaos, not because they want to ruin something good, but because the body learned to prepare for loss faster than it learned to trust steadiness. And none of this means the past has to be turned into a courtroom. Understanding childhood wounds is not the same as putting the people who raised us on trial. Blame can feel dramatic, but it does not always lead to freedom. What matters more is recognizing that our reactions make sense. They are not proof that we are broken, difficult, or hard to love. They are evidence that some part of us once had to stay alert in order to feel safe enough to survive. That shift matters, because the moment we stop treating ourselves like a problem to be fixed, we start seeing the pattern more clearly. Instead of saying, "Why am I like this again?" we might ask, "What exactly got triggered just now?" Instead of shaming the panic, we can get curious about it. What did this moment remind me of? What am I afraid is about to happen? Which part of me suddenly feels very young? Sometimes a question changes everything, because healing, or whatever gentler word you prefer, usually does not begin with becoming fearless. It begins with noticing the alarm. Before it takes over the whole house, it begins with recognizing the trigger, a delayed reply, a shift in tone, a sense of being left out, a loved one becoming less available than you hoped. Once you can name the trigger, even imperfectly, you create a few seconds of space between feeling and reaction, and those few seconds are not small. That is where a different future begins. In that space, you may choose not to send the long text written entirely from panic. You may choose to ask instead of assume. You may say, "I feel unsettled right now," instead of turning distress into accusation or disappearance. You may start learning the difference between what is happening in front of you and what the past is warning you about. That distinction is one of the hardest and most beautiful skills an adult can learn. So is learning that safety can be built, not only found. For people shaped by early inconsistency, secure attachment is rarely about finding perfect relationships. Perfect Relationships are mythical creatures, appealing in theory, useless in real life. What matters is something more human. Relationships where repair is possible, places where misunderstandings can be talked about, where distance does not instantly become abandonment, where one hard moment does not require someone to disappear. For a person whose body expects connection to crack without warning, those experiences are not minor. They teach the nervous system a new rhythm. They whisper, slowly and repeatedly, that closeness does not always end in pain, that learning also has to happen inside the self, not only between self and others. There's often an inner child somewhere in this story, even if the phrase sounds soft or overused, until it suddenly becomes true. Not as a cliche, but as a real emotional presence. That frightened younger part is still there, usually not asking for poetry, just for company. It does not need to be shamed or pushed away. It does not need to run the whole relationship either. It needs an adult self willing to say, I understand why you are scared, but I am here now, and you do not have to carry this alone. That is a new kind of attachment too. Not abandoning yourself in your own moment of fear, not mocking your need for comfort, not demanding that you become invulnerable in order to deserve love, just learning little by little to become a safer place for your own heart to land. Of course, that does not mean every wound disappears neatly. There will still be days when something small hits an old bruise. There will still be moments when your reaction is bigger than you wanted it to be. But progress is not the absence of triggers. Progress is recognizing where you are in the pattern. Progress is pausing sooner, repairing sooner, returning to yourself sooner. It is no longer believing that every wave of insecurity means you are doomed to live the same story forever. Sometimes the bravest step is not holding on to a relationship at any cost. Sometimes it is being honest about the pattern, gentle with your history, and willing to ask for help when old pain keeps spilling into love, work, or everyday life. A trustworthy therapist or even one emotionally steady person cannot rewrite the past, but they can help you stop wandering alone through the maze it built. So maybe the truth is this: you are never simply too much. Your reactions have a history. Your fear has logic, even when it feels out of proportion. And the version of you that struggles with closeness may not be broken at all. It may simply be carrying an old map into relationships that require a different one. Maybe that is where change begins, not by becoming less sensitive, not by pretending you do not need love, but by understanding yourself deeply enough that love stops being only a trigger for fear and slowly becomes a place where your body can breathe again. If this felt familiar, maybe that is because it was never really about weakness. It was about adaptation, about a heart that learned early to stay watchful, about an adult still living with strategies that once made perfect sense. And sometimes the first step toward healthy attachment with another person is choosing not to turn away from the most fragile part of yourself.